morning, everybody. Very nice to be here. Well done on this initiative to hold these conferences. I think it's very important for Cyprus, and I think it's something that was missing in the past. I was asked to talk about whether Cyprus can be an innovation hub. I do have some crazy ideas, and let's see if you agree as well. I usually get my audience to stand up and dance. I will not do it for you. I do it so that I feel less nervous, but I think it's okay today. So I'll come to this later. Maybe you know what it is. It's called Paphitis in Greek, Indian pears or prickly pears, but I will come back to that. So before we say if Cyprus can be an innovation hub, what is innovation? If I ask each and every one of you, I'm sure that I will get different answers. And if you do a textbook search, what is innovation? Change. You create new markets, new products, services. You do things in a different way. So you deliver something that exists in an innovative way. New technologies. A lot of people will say innovation is about technology. And of course, it has to be sustainable and scalable. And I put there a very innovative idea from my kids, the I told mom idea. So they are very innovative. I have 4 children. My husband is here. And they came up with this idea when they wanted to do something. They ask me, I say no. They go to dad, we told mom. It was not sustainable or scalable because we figured it out quite quickly. But it worked for a while because they were economical with the truth. And then I go back to here. So there is a guy in Cyprus who actually has now about 500 acres of land, and he produces this fruit that we know as Paphitis. He actually used land, government land, which was not usable. He got funding from the European Union. This fruit needs minimal water. We don't have a lot of water here. And he actually finds a way to produce it all year round and sell it all over Europe. This is innovation. So innovation is not about technology. It can be any kind, any form. So this guy, I think, is innovative, in my view. So when you think about innovation and what Cyprus can do, you have to think what Cyprus is good at. So the next thing is, what do others do? Where do we stand? So look a little bit around you. Next door to us, our neighbors, Israel, is the second largest innovation center. Why? What have they done differently? They are still in a war zone. Instability is all over them, but they still manage to do that. Why? So they are in a military zone, in a conflict zone, and they had a need to innovate on military technology. And that's how they started. Their technology and the innovation they do started from the military needs that they had. They also have people going to the army from age 18, 16, men and women, and they get exposed to this technology. So they come back later and they do startups. They start their own companies, and that's where it's starting from. They do water conservation. So they are good in technologies in water conservation. So it's not just programming or systems, or it's something else that they need. It's agriculture. They excel in agriculture. So it's their needs. They need military, they need to feed their people, and they need to get water. And that's how they did it. And they do have money, yes, of course they do, but they give incentives. They give incentives for people to come back and do these kinds of things. Then we look at Luxembourg. I talk about Luxembourg because that's where we live, and I get exposure to this place. It's a small country like Cyprus, smaller than Cyprus, but they do give incentives. They are considered an innovation center. So they give incentives for companies to go and set up in Luxembourg. A lot of Israeli companies next door to us go to Luxembourg. They don't come to Cyprus because they get an incentive. They have a government who collaborates and goes out and finds these companies and asks them, come and set up your company in Luxembourg. It's not that the innovation will take place there, but they give them the base. They use the 1-1-1 concept. So one person to set up one company in one day with €1. So they look at this, the ease of getting things done. They have diversity. So they have a lot of young people coming in. In Cyprus, I think we have committees and we have people that circle around. You find the same people everywhere. We are not diverse. And diversity is not just gender. It's not getting women in. It's getting young people, getting new ways of thinking. And in Luxembourg, they do a lot of talent acquisition. So they hold MBAs, they attract people from abroad, and they make sure that they keep these people. So they educate them, they acquire talent, and they keep them there. And I was in an innovation conference where the Prime Minister said, we love banks and we love bankers. We are open for business. So they look at fintech, they look at financial services. And he just came out, he stood up and he said to everybody, we love you, come and do business with us. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about Poland and India because I'm exposed to these countries as well. So I have teams in both Poland and India where we have service centers. They provide services. They are not much different to Cyprus. We have talent that they have, but they have a niche. They provided a niche. They said, we have people, we have universities, you can pool talent, set up your service center here, then we take care of you. We give you tax incentives, we give you tax holidays. So they found ways to do that. And it's something that I think Cyprus has not managed to sustain yet. So Cyprus, what did we do well in the past? We created the concept of the offshore companies. Everybody knows it. In the financial services sector. So we managed to bring in a lot of business. For some time, it was going really well. And we screwed up. I said, did we screw up? Yes, we did. Because nobody thought about sustaining it. We brought people in, very good in acquiring clients. But what's next? What's the strategic view behind that? Can we sustain it? No, we didn't do anything about it. And then what is our niche? What do we have here that we can build on? So we have a shipping industry, which is about in the 10 biggest shipping industries in the world. We have talent, and we know financial services. We have tourism, and we have agriculture. And maybe you tell me that we have technology as well, but you need a lot of money to put into technology, and in all these sectors for that matter. So you need a lot of investment, and probably we're not that wealthy here in Cyprus to do that. So we need to find our niche. What do we want to promote? What kind of service center do we want to be? And then we can say, yes, we can become a service center or an innovation center or whatever. And what is our advantage here? We are the entry to Europe. So if we say that next door to us, Israel is an innovation center, why don't we make their entry to Europe through Cyprus? We have a lot of Israeli companies who set up here, but we can go out and say, come set up your companies here, have a service center here, bring your innovation, and then we can create value for them. We have talent, educated people, so we have all these things. We are cheap. We're still cheaper than Luxembourg, cheaper than Poland, I would say, cheaper than Israel. So we can and we should build on this. And then I say small is big. We're a small country, but we can get things done. And I see this in Luxembourg. You need something done, you can get it done because it's small. Decision makers are close by. So you can get things done if everybody collaborates and if everybody can help drive the change. So I go to the question, what do we want to do? Do we want to be tactical or strategic? Until now, we were tactical. So when we had the financial services business growing here in Cyprus, it was tactical. We never thought about it strategically. And now new things coming. We have fintech. We have regulators who need more and more from companies and from banks and financial services. We can build on that. How can we deliver strategically what all these clients and the customers need at the end of the day? Can we become a fintech center? I think yes, we can. Can we help companies to meet their regulatory requirements? We are very good at that. We have knowledge base, and I think we can do it. But we have to find our niche. I said it before. You cannot just say, yes, I will be an innovation center. Of what? This is what we need to understand. This is what people need to figure out first before we say we can do it or not. And of course, you need a lot of money to do it. I said it before that if you want to be an innovation center where you have a lot of technology companies or startups for that matter, they need capital, venture capital. Maybe we are too small to attract it, but if you give them the base, set up your company here, do the stuff that don't need a lot of money and a lot of investment to start with. Give them a start and then it grows. We need to brand Cyprus. So we don't have a branding. We are a tax haven. That's how we sold Cyprus in the past. Other places are tax havens. Luxembourg is a tax haven. They don't sell themselves like that. They give tax incentives, but they never said or branded themselves as a tax haven. We don't have a branding for this country, and this is what is missing. So someone should think, yes, I go to Cyprus, I have experts, people who can help me, people who can help me grow my company, incubators. We don't have this. We never thought about branding ourselves. And no, we are not a tax haven. We shouldn't be. That's how people look at us. When I talk about Cyprus in my business, tax. This is what all they think about. How can you sustain a business model and get people and companies to come and set up here if they look at you like that? We're like Panama. That's how they look at us. And we're not, actually. We're not. You need collaboration. So it's not just the private sector or one person on its own. We cannot do it. You need the government, you need the private sector, you need everybody collaboratively to go ahead, think about what Cyprus can do, brand it the right way, and go out to the world and sell it. I'm telling you that in Luxembourg, we as a bank, we are approached by the government and we go jointly to roadshows. We go to Asia, we go to Latin America to bring business in Luxembourg. And we go with the government, not on our own. And we go with other banks. So it's not about competition there, it's about everybody together trying to bring business in, because it will help everybody. It's a small place. Cyprus is the same. And then we need diversity. I talked about it before. You need new blood, new ideas to come in. And again, diversity, people think of gender diversity. It's not only that. It's not only gender. It's age diversity, different ideas. That's what we need here. And we do have diversity, we just don't use it. We need to change. This is what we need to do. That's all I had to say. I have to say about one thing I read on the internet the other day, which I liked. It was saying electricity was not invented, but by the continuous improvement of candles. The end result, the client wants to have light, energy. It was given in a different way. And this is what we need to do as well. Give the client what they need. We can do it in a better way, in a more efficient way. And then, yes, we can become a hub when we find the niche that we need to be in. Thanks.
Thank you, Georgia. We will now open the floor to questions. Andres will pass the mic. Any questions from the floor?
Hi, good morning. Although we had a brief discussion yesterday, I know that Luxembourg is smaller than Cyprus, but then again, nobody really thinks of Luxembourg to be, how do you say it, a tax haven as us.
Yep.
But I never realized that they had more things than just banks. Because even it's their joke, I understand that they're a nation of bankers.
Yes.
But then again, you mentioned it was briefly, but how a small country can cater, like our country is small, and we don't have the advantage that Luxembourg has to other markets as well, besides, let's say, banks or the tax incentives.
So basically, first of all, Luxembourg, yes, it's small. It's a tax haven as well, just to put things right. And Luxembourg is not known everywhere. So in the last roadshow we did in Asia, nobody heard of Luxembourg. Nobody had a clue what Luxembourg is. And when we went out there, basically the government tried to tell them that we are a country that has a lot of talent. We have pools of people that can help you to grow your business. And they asked us, what do you need? So they ask the clients, what do you need? They go back and cater for what the client needs. I think we can do the same. We have a lot of advantages in a similar way that we can build on. So it's not just banks and financial services. I brought a lemon in my bag. I was supposed to show it to you. So we do the best lemons in the world. Nobody knows about it. In Luxembourg, I buy lemons from Argentina, on the other side of the world. We have things we can do, but we never go out there to advertise ourselves. You need to brand yourself and advertise yourself. Otherwise, nobody the hell knows who you are.
Other questions? Panagiotis?
Hi, good morning. One of the most important, for me at least, is the most important problem in Cyprus for the startup ecosystem, etc. It's the funding. And people like you in high places, you can help push other people, you understand what I mean, to create like a major fund in Cyprus that will fund only startups.
Yeah.
At least that's my idea, but I want your views on this, how we approach funding,
So
to bring more funding in Cyprus for startups.
Yeah. So
Even startups that they might want to relocate in Cyprus and work. Yeah. No, I'm not discussing, for example, Limassol is full of startups Israelis that they have the holding company, some operations here, but most of the other operations are in Israel.
Yeah. So if there is a good idea, I don't think that anybody will say no to funding. But again, I don't think we go out and ask for funding so much. And yes, a fund in Cyprus to do startups, it's a very good idea. In UBS, we have funds that fund startups. It has to be a good idea, and you have to sell it. And if it's good and people think they will make money out of it, of course they'll give you funding. And it is possible for Cyprus, but I don't think we went out and asked for it yet. I have not seen any startup come to UBS, at least of the things that I've seen, asking for funding. And you can also, the guy with the Babutsosika before, he went to the European Union. He's using EU funding. There are ways. But if you have a good idea which is sustainable and profitable, of course I think you can get funding. And a fund in Cyprus for startups, yes, it's a good idea. And you still need the buy-in of the government as well, I think. That's where I said collaboration from everybody. If you want to bring startups here, it has to be a collective approach.
Any other questions?
Hi there.
Hi.
I agree. I think there's necessarily, it's not that there's a lack of funding, there's a lack of things to fund in Cyprus. So one of the biggest concerns is there's not enough talent in Cyprus, and the brain.
Sorry, can you?
Sorry, one of the big concerns is there's not enough talent, a talent pool in Cyprus.
No.
So how would you address that, and what are your views on that?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that. To be fair with you, so it's not an easy question. How to attract it? I don't know.
Maybe it's a collective approach.
It's a collective. Yeah, one man cannot do. One man can make change, but in a place like Cyprus, I think
it really
you need
depends
more.
on the education you get, on the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I said it before. On Luxembourg, they try to attract people to study in Luxembourg specific subjects. They study wealth management, or they study technology, or they have a technology park. We could do the same. You could offer this and then keep the talent, keep the people here.
Apart from the government, who really supports, as I understand, in Luxembourg, these initiatives, what else do you think is, I mean, in Luxembourg, what was the recipe that worked for these?
They had a prime minister who was forward-looking. You need to have insight.
So it's a very important factor that the government supports all these initiatives.
It's because of Juncker, yes, that's how they started.
Yes.
He was forward-looking, and he did things for his country. He wanted to make sure Luxembourg has a place on the map, to brand it. I said it before, it's about branding. We never did it. We did the financial services. We never branded ourselves out to the world. We are like Panama. I'm telling you now, people, when you talk about Cyprus, Panama Papers came out, And people were coming to me saying, what about Cyprus? I said, what about Cyprus? He said, you're the same. I said, no, we're not the same.
Hi. So I used to work for a bank in the UK, investment banking, and I just moved now to a startup in Cyprus. And I was also wondering why they don't move the technology centers in Cyprus, because as you said, we have in Spain, we have in Malta, but we don't have in Cyprus. So why do you think, or how you can do it? Is it through the government always, or you can go as an individual or something?
I think as an individual, you can do things, but you need to do it collectively. We are very small. We are a very small country. We don't have scalability locally. So you have to do it as a team.
What do you think it attracts the FX companies in Limassol? And they
The
don't
FX companies, we are the entry to Europe. FX is forbidden in Israel. It's not a regulated activity, and we are the entry point. And I said it before, one of our advantages, we can be the entry to Europe, for Asia, for Israel, for the Middle East. So. Yes, we have a tax regime, but again, we shouldn't be seen as a tax haven.
I agree.
We have to give tax incentives. We have a service center in Poland. Why do we have it in Poland? I'm fighting to get it in Cyprus now. Why do we have it in Poland? We are in a territory which is called a tax-efficient territory. They give you a tax holiday. You are located next to the universities, and basically you pull people from the universities to work for you, and they give you a tax holiday.
Okay.
And you probably pay less tax than you would have paid in Cyprus.
We're also now pushing for a legislation for an amendment to the tax legislation in Cyprus in relation to startups, to investments made in startups, innovative SMEs.
Yeah.
So that's a very good
Again, Luxembourg went to Israel for a roadshow. Luxembourg went to Israel for a roadshow, and they asked Israeli companies to relocate, giving them incentives and tax holidays. The branding was different. We can make things happen. Come to us, and we basically pay you. We give you. We can do the same, and we don't need to spend a lot of money out of it. We can do it through tax holidays. And going back to Poland, that I talked about before, I realized over the last years that they're not much better than us. Maybe they have a pool in the university where we can get people. We have problems with attrition because everybody is there, so people leave within 6 months. And we have labor law issues. So people don't work more than 7 hours a day. So if I get someone to do a job in Poland, I actually need 2 people because I work through the day, through the night when I have deadlines, and I cannot afford it not to have someone there for the most part of the day. And I have to pay 2 people. They are about 2/3 of the cost of Central Europe. Cyprus is cheaper. People are more dedicated, and they can work, and they can stay on and get the work done. When we had the office here in Cyprus with UBS, we used to be a hub for the Middle East and some of the Central European countries. So we used to keep and close the books of everybody through Cyprus. I did it with 3 people. I need about 20 in Poland to do it. But we never had any incentivization to do that.
But why, for example,
and I'll come to you next.
I agree with you that perhaps rebranding Cyprus in one sense would be a good idea, but it seems like such a big task. What would you say was the first step? Would it be organizations like this, CEL, organizing together and putting pressure on the government and saying, we really want Cyprus to become a technology hub, so let's push for that and have more exchange between companies and universities? Or should we be voting for different people? I'm just curious to see your
Voting
ideas.
for different people, it will not change anything unless you actually start with foundations like this one, get people together and work towards the same goal. That's how it will be done. It's in the interest of everybody to collectively have Cyprus on the map when it comes to innovation and all of these kinds of things.
Yeah, I agree with you that Cyprus has a great talent pool, very dedicated people, English speaking, very mobile. But nevertheless, we saw in the last couple of years, and despite the tax regime, and I mean it in a positive manner, that companies have been leaving, like yours, for example. Have we got some insight why that happens?
I'll tell you why we left Cyprus. So the crisis had nothing to do with the fact that UBS left Cyprus. We still had clients here. London was more strong, so they attracted all the business. We did investment banking out of Cyprus, so they attracted all of the business directly to London. We had a huge hub, we had the platform, we had, I don't know how many traders we have, thousands and thousands of traders, and that's why we moved. So for them, Cyprus was starting to get a little bit difficult from the name tag we had, that it was a tax haven. Otherwise, from a regulatory perspective, Cyprus was better. Operationally, it was much better, so we could get things done easily and quickly. So what I said before, small is big. We could turn around contracts and do things in a snap. Moving to London was much more difficult, but the label of a tax haven didn't help, and that's why they left. And after closing the office here, I still have people saying it was much better when we were in Cyprus, but still the reputational issue made them move.
Okay, we're now going to move on to the next session. Thank you, Georgia. That was very insightful.